So today the talk will be about awakening and transformation, which is an appropriate talk for Christmas time. Because Christmas, we are celebrating the birth of Christ. So it's not just only celebrating the birth of the historical Christ, more than 2,000 years ago, but it is the celebration of the birth of the Christ consciousness. That means God's consciousness within our heart. And that is very current. It's now. So the celebration of our journey of awakening. So you must have experienced that awakening, otherwise you would not be on the screen and listen to me now. Okay. So this is the talk about that journey of transformation from this moment of awakening. And then what happened? So before awakening, then we live unconscious life. Unconscious means you live your life, but you never question about this life. You live your life according to the criteria of your society, your culture, your family. You live in the darkness. You don't really know who you are. You are living a life, but you are like asleep. You are asleep to yourself. You are unconscious. And your life is full of attachment. It's a very emotional life. And you try to please. And you try very much to have your own personal value. You want to have some power or some kind of sense of yourself. But always you're looking outward for that. So that's why you want to please others. You look at yourself in the eyes of others. You make a lot of effort so that people can recognize you. But it's never ending, because the more you make effort for people to recognize you and give you some kind of recognition, you never feel really enough. So some people put a lot of energy to become somebody. Either they can become very famous, or they can become very rich, or they can become very, very peculiar. So in this stage, when you are still asleep to yourself, your sense of self is not very clear, very strong. Some people will dye their hair blue in order for people to recognize them, because they feel like nobody see me. They are in that world and confused about their sense of who am I? And then in that darkness, there is a little idea. There must be something more to life. I wake up, I go to work, I make money, I go home, I eat, I laugh a little bit, I enjoy a little bit, I go to sleep, and doesn't seem to be very worth it. So some people fall into depression. Some people fall into addiction. They don't have a sense of themselves. So when the moment of awakening is like a little light that comes into the darkness. It's like you are in the dark room. You don't see the furniture. And now there's a little light there and you start to see a little bit. And you start to know that you don't know. When you know that you don't know is the beginning of knowledge. Before you think that you know, then everything is all solid. You have all preconceived idea about yourself and about others. You are full of judgment of others. But now in that darkness, there is something that is making you think that is there anything else to this life? So you have a glimpse of this light and of this truth that comes through the darkness. There's some different energy that starts to take over. There's a deeper level of your soul that is asking yourself to transform. There is a certain shift in perception. You start to question yourself. So in yoga, we say it's the awakening of the sense of discrimination. Discrimination means something you feel that you know that this is not the truth. And then there is called the vairagya. That means you start to feel that it's not your truth, you don't want it. You detach from it. So in this journey from the false self, the false idea of yourself, seeking for the truth about yourself, there's a lot of churning. But then some moments of joy. And when you experience this moment of joy, you also experience some regrets. Oh, I wish that I knew this before. Oh, I wish that everybody knows this, what I know today. And then sometimes you feel like you are crying because you you cry over the time that you are lost. Because now you know the difference between being lost and knowing. You don't know where you go and what happened, but you know that it will change you forever. So that's the beginning. That's the birth of Christ. That's the light that comes in darkness. And then you're still looking and seeking. You become a seeker. A seeker is the one that knows there is a truth there and you are looking for it. But you cannot look for it outside. And you have the feeling that I need help. All the people around me up till now did not help me. Because now you have a different view. You look at yourself from before and you don't recognize it. You don't recognize yourself. For me, I remember one day, I was looking at the picture that I hang on the wall in my room, my house. And I was asking myself why I like this picture. It's all the paintings of different artists, like Picasso, Van Gogh, all these people. Then after my awakening, I look at this painting that I have had in my wall for a long time and I like them. And for the first time in my life, I asked myself, why do I like them? So then I realized that I was in darkness and I did not know. Because one of the painting, for example, I remember, is Picasso painting. You know Picasso? He paint called nature morte. That means still objects. I like that painting. I put it on my wall. I did not know why I like it. There's a table. There is some fruits. There's a drawer that is open, and inside the drawer there is a knife, and then some cups on the table. So that's his painting. And when the moment of awakening comes, then I ask myself the question, which I never asked before, why do I like this painting? Then I realized what I was attracted to was a knife in the drawer. And it scared me to death. I did not realize in my subconscious mind, that means in the mind that you do not know that it's there. When you live an unconscious life, you do not know a lot of things about yourself. So I did not know that in my subconscious mind, there is some feeling of anger. Because the knife is anger. And then I look at the other painting of this famous painter named Van Gogh. And he painted this, picture of fuel and water and all moving. Look very beautiful. But then I realized that he's crazy. So why I would put a painting of somebody crazy in my house and look at it? Then I realized that my mind also was crazy. To like somebody creation that is crazy, you must be also crazy. In the real story, he cut his ear one time. He must be very crazy. So that's how I get rid of all the painting. I was so scared that I was surrounded myself with people that are crazy. And then I take care. I get rid of all my painting. And then I start to look at my collection of music. And I ask myself, why do I like this singer? There's one favorite singer, French, is called Edith Piaf. She's beautiful. She's very famous. She sings beautiful song. But she's very much suffering lady. If you look at her life, she's suffering and she's addicted. She died from overdose or something. So she sings beautifully because she's suffering so much. So in her beautiful singing, it's her suffering. Then I got very scared that I like somebody that suffer. To like somebody that suffer, you must be suffering. In the moment of awakening, I don't want to suffer. So I get rid of all my music. Then I look at my books. Then I start to see that all these people don't know. This person write this book and another person copy a little bit and write something, and this book and that book, and this idea is this ideology, this theory, this. All these people don't know. In my moment of awakening, I'm seeking for the truth. And I start to realize I'm surrounded by ignorance. By people that are as ignorant as myself. So I get rid of all my books. I don't want to be in company of ignorance. I don't want to be in company of suffering. I don't want to be in company of craziness. So that's what the awakening came. And I can tell my stories, many stories. But you can look at your life the same. There's something that happened in your life that you don't think the same way before. And you start to look at things differently. So these are called the moment of awakening. So you become different than other people. Your friends are not the same anymore. Because whatever that you have in common with your friends, now you have changed. I remember that time when I was looking at myself on the TV. Because before somebody interviewed me and I was on TV. So I was looking at myself talking on TV. And I was thinking, who's that? Who is that person talking? And what she's talking? I'm completely disassociated with the person that I was before. So these are called a little bit confused time. When your false self starts to wake up and the new self not completely established. So you are seeking, but you don't know what you're doing. And you have an idea that you want to be helped. So that's how I come back to the ashram. I did not know that I need the guru to help me, because I don't know even what is a guru. I don't know what kind of help I need. But then the teaching teach you way how you can find by the teaching the 4 paths of yoga. So I start to practice. When I see in the beginning people singing kirtan, I find it's very strange. But then something happened, I start to really like it. Then I see people sing so nicely, and I don't know how to pronounce all these Sanskrit words, and I don't know how to sing. So I was a little bit jealous of why people are so happy. And I want to share into that joy and that happiness. So then I start singing and singing and singing and singing, and I like to sing. Chanting mantra. What happened, I don't know, but I chant for hours. I just keep chanting and chanting and chanting, and it's so sweet. These chants are so sweet. So I was embarking on the path of Bhakti Yoga. Transformation of emotion into love. And then I start to have much detachment toward my own life. So this is the next stage in the journey. What is important for you before is no longer important now. So I start to give everything that I got. You know, my possessions. I came to the ashram say, oh, they need a car, I gave my car. I gave everything. But, you know, basically, I want to be free. I go and I beg people to take the stuff from me. Because you are so bound by all this stuff. At that time, I don't want anything. I go into nature, and I was so happy with nature. I hug the tree, I talk to tree, I roll on the ground. At that time was in Canada, there's snow, I roll in the snow. And it's a long period of time. It's not just short. So that awakening can happen maybe a moment, but it keeps awakening for a period of time. And then I start to do karma yoga. The more I do karma yoga, the more I'm happy. Called selfless service. So I follow the path of karma yoga. Keep doing karma yoga, keep doing karma yoga. And anything that I do for myself, I don't like it. Because I found some kind of path. A path is like this. You do something and it makes you happy. So then you keep doing it, keep doing it. I do asanas, I do pranayama. And I'm so happy I do 2 classes a day. And I meet the guru. But meeting the guru like meeting with myself. So the second phase of the journey of awakening is when you start to ask yourself questions. And before, you might think a lot, but you are not asking the right question. But now you start to ask the right question. Who am I? Where I come from, where I'm going? So I was awakening to what is love and what is life. And there is a lot of struggle because the awakening journey doesn't mean that you are just all of a sudden you find heaven and it will be forever and ever heaven. No. Because you have to work out all the habits and all the subconscious kind of belief. So you are struggling and you have some setback. And then you rethink about your life with a different kind of view. Because everyone always have a story of their life. It's like a script that you repeat and you rehearse again and again. You think that you know who you are by retelling the story of your life. But after you awaken, you realize it is false story. It's a story that you fabricated yourself. You believe in it, but it's not a true story of your soul. So then you start to retell the story of your life. So I say like this, very simple, but it's not simple. But that is the second phase of the journey, when you start to rethink about your life. Then you understand your lessons and your inner journey. You go back to the past, but not with regret and attachment. You go back to the past, but with the questioning of how you were in the past, to realize your ignorance and your mistake of the past. So you start to clean in your mind all this false idea about yourself that you have been repeating for a long time. You have a lot of you must have a lot of courage at that time. When you are established on the journey, there is a courage that is there. There is something inside that pushes you. I want to know, I want to know, I want to change. I don't want to come back like before. I need help. So that is the second phase, when you start to rethink your life completely and change your subconscious. The subconscious is all the stories that you told, all the memories that you have, but it's not the way how it is. It's not true. So you go deeper in the cleansing of your own idea of yourself. In Sanskrit, it's called vicharana. You ask questions. You do truly self-inquiry. So this second phase is not that easy. So the first phase, most people are struggling in the first phase. The looking, the questioning, the longing. But the establishment on the path and on the routine and on the practice lead to the re-questioning of your whole life. That's the second phase. And then you continue to turn inward. And your mind become more calm. In yoga theory, it is called thinning out of the mind. What means thinning out of the mind is when you no longer follow the likes and dislikes of your mind so much. Because you grab hold of something that is behind your mind and you start to recognize yourself and you start to change your way of thinking. We call thinning out the mind. Something that you are really making a lot of fuss before, now you become detached. Something you like very much, you are passionate before, now you detach. because now you meditate. And then you have a different kind of idea about yourself. More and more you are finding the light within. So this phase is called introspection. You start to be detached and you start to learn to let go. You let go of the drama, you let go of all those things that you think is important. It's like peeling the onion. There's many, many, many layers. And you start to peel the onion. And when you peel the onion, you cry and cry. At that phase, called Tanumanasa, that means the mind become very turning inward and you become very quiet. You're no longer seeking approval from outside. In that phase, you feel very lonely because before you have a lot of friends and you always try to compare yourself and, you know, you look at yourself in the eyes of others, but now you look at yourself in your own eyes. So you feel more lonely. You are more introspective. You distance yourself from the society, from the mass consciousness. You are more letting go. Letting go become very important for you. Peeling the onion. Letting go. Cleaning out of the mind. So these three phases, according to classical yoga and Vedanta, is the most important phases that everyone is going through when they awaken and when they start to self-transform. So basically they move from tamas to the darkness, to rajas, to sattva. So there's a movement going more inward and going more toward purity. When I say thinning out of the mind, that means at that time, you don't want anything. So your mind becomes contented. Why? Because your mind becomes now sattvic. Less desire, less competition, less comparison, less restlessness. You become more contented and calm. So these are the first three phases that you normally go through to get to sattva. Sattva means knowledge, wisdom, light, calmness. So that's the next phase. It might take a long time before you get to sattva, before you letting go of all your attachment and all your habits, all your desire. So the fourth stage is when you attain to sattva. when you become very calm, very contented, and very detached. You become stable at that time in yourself. The subconscious mind still come up. All the drama, all the trauma will come up. But for you to cleanse them out, to realize them, to be aware of them. And when you take action in this phase, you're not 100% sure of who are you, of your goodness. So there is still some doubt about yourself. So, but eventually you become more and more sattvic, pure, calm, contented. You know. So in the beginning, it was, you know that you don't know. Then after, you don't know that you know. Then after, you know that you know. So that's the fourth stage. When you start to know that you know. When you become very pure at heart, your motivation is clear. You don't want anything, you have no more desire, no more proving, no more running here, running there. You become much more stable in your true self. So the stage number 4 is not that easy to attain when you become pure. At that time, you experience what is true love. Because there is no more ego or passion or desire. So then at that time, you can experience true love. The detachment at that time become important. And that's how true love can happen. Because you cannot experience true love if there is desire, if there is attachment. So that's enough. There's other 3 phases of the journey for advanced people. But if you get to the 4th stage of your journey of awakening and transformation, when you become very pure, when you don't want anything anymore, when you are stable, when your mind is not pulling you here, there anymore, when you know yourself more, you don't compare with other people, you don't judge other people, you don't try to prove yourself, you let go of all your idea. You become more detached. If you can get to that stage of purity, you become happy. And your happiness is stable because it's not depending on other people anymore. And you are not making too much effort to be happy. Because normally you make a lot of effort to be happy because the happiness always is conditional. If I do this, I'll be happy. If I meet this person, I'll be happy. If this condition of life is fulfilled, I'll be happy. But in the fourth stage of life, of your journey, you don't make any effort and you are happy. Because you are detached, you don't want anything, and you are more established in yourself, so you become happy naturally. There's not much contradiction with yourself. You don't have to fight with yourself, you don't have to prove anything. So that's why you become happy. And you can love without much effort. Normally love takes a lot of effort. Because you have to prove to somebody that I love you. But when you come to this phase, nothing to prove because you are love. You discover yourself. I am love. You discover yourself. I am life. Before, I have to make a lot of effort to live. But now I realize life is there and it's beautiful. And I don't have to make any effort. I don't have to search for it. You become much more relaxed. And the last three phases is, I just do it short, is when you are not affected by anything. I mean, that's stage of life where you become more stable in yourself and you are no longer looking for outside. And when you are not affected by anything, because whatever happened, you surrender to it. It's not external to you. It's not a big thing. It's not a big drama of your mind that is playing out. But it is, whatever it is, you're not affected by anything anymore. There's nothing outside of yourself. And then you start to see the truth everywhere. You keep the same mind, same vision, same self everywhere. So the false self become like a shadow. And all the drama of this world become like a shadow. And the last stage is called samadhi or turiya. Is when there is no more karma, no more desire, or past, or present, or future, no more anything, and you are permanently happy. Okay, so this is the classical teaching of yoga. Many people tell different phases of the journey of awakening. But this is a classical view, going from darkness to light. Darkness, then awakening, and then purifying, and then detaching, and letting go, and more calm, more and more established. Less doubt, less fear, less conflict, less separation. A journey to move from that feeling of loneliness into the feeling of oneness, of openness, of love. So it's a big relief. When you still have to prove, it's very difficult. But when you can be who you are free. So in this Christmas, almost Eve, almost the night of the Christ's birth, you need to remember this. Every year when come to Christmas, you need to remember to celebrate your journey of awakening. Your own journey of awakening. You need to recognize how wonderful, how miraculous, because, you know, Christ is born in darkness at midnight. And in the story, he was persecuted. His parents are persecuted. So the same with you. The awakening happened in the darkness when you have really great difficulty. Then all of a sudden, you know, some light comes. In the suffering, the light comes. And sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't know where to turn, what to do. In that darkness, something happened. So it's not a bad thing. When you're struggling and you're looking and, you know, you have some idea of what you should do, and you don't at the same time don't know what you should do. So in that struggling, the awakening is happening. So you need to celebrate it, recognize it, celebrate it. It's not like a problem. It's not a disease. It's not a doubt. It's not that you are crazy. You are awakening. So you don't see things the same way. So don't doubt yourself. Recognize that journey and celebrate yourself. And when you are in conflict and you are struggling, it's okay. Because you trust. See, you have to have some trust, some faith and some trust that the soul is speaking and the soul is showing itself, and the mind is slowly purifying and letting go. In that journey, it's good for you to have satsanga. Satsanga means spiritual teacher company. So they can confirm your journey, and they tell you, they encourage you, and they don't tell you you are crazy. So it's good to keep satsanga and let go of the attachment to kusanga, the wrong company. And accept, whatever, even though you feel that I'm so different than others, you accept it. Because you surrender and you accept your journey, that you are a unique individual. You don't have to compare yourself with the rest of the people. You're unique, you're special. So keep looking within. Don't be afraid. And celebrate yourself, celebrate your journey. Okay? Any question? I check the chat if you have any question there. Okay. Gratitude. Okay, thank you. So thank you for being here. And I wish you well. So celebrate Christmas with a feeling of the meaning. Okay? Give a gift to yourself. Meditate. It's a good time to meditate and to chant a lot. And then I see you next week. Next week at the same time now, before the New Year. Okay, so this Christmas and the New Year, it's a lot of opportunity for you to prepare yourself for a new journey next year. So next week, I will talk about the New Year resolve, how to prepare yourself for the new year. Okay? Same time. Next week will be same time, but then in January, then we switch the time. Somebody say something here. Làm sao để thúc đẩy nội lực bên trong chính mình? Là cái cách mà mình phải thực tập. Thì đó, thì tuần tới mình sẽ nói về chuyện đó. Làm sao kết nối với, làm sao kết nối cái gì? Kết nối bên trong, bên sâu chính mình. Thì kết nối bằng yoga, bằng thiền định. Mình càng tập yoga, mình càng tập thiền định thì mình càng kết nối. Thì mình càng mạnh mẽ hơn. So she's asking, how do I connect with myself? So I answer, through the practice of yoga and meditation, you can connect with yourself. And then you feel stronger and stronger. Not by going out and checking, talking to your friends and, go to movie, restaurant, coffee, none of this. But by practicing yoga, meditation, then you get more feeling of yourself and you become much stronger. And you become closer and closer to the happiness that you are looking for. Okay, so next week we will talk about that, how you need to make some resolve so that you can enter into new year strong. Okay. Okay. Very good. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you, everybody. Okay. So now you can do Swamiji, if you can do the Arati. Om Trayambakam Vijamahe Sugamni Pushtivananam Urvau Kamiva Bandanan Micho Mukshya Mamritan Om Trayambakam Vijamahe Sugamni Pushtivananam Urvau Kamiva Bandanan Micho Mukshya Mamritan Om Trayambakam Vijamahe Sugamni Pushtivananam Urvau Kamiva Bandanan Micho Mukshya Mamritan Om Shanti Shanti, Shanti. Om Bolo Satguru Sivananda Mas Ki Jai, Sri Vishnu Devananda Mas Ki Jai.